Hey friends, welcome back. This week we're going to cover Cycle 1, Week 8. I'm going to cover new grammar, fine arts, hands-on science, and review. I'm not going to go so in-depth with the last ones, but I'll go over in depth what we did for new grammar. So this week we started with geography. I had the maps already colored in. I colored them at home with different dry erase markers and set out for the kids for when they come into class. I use this resource I got from CC Connected. I'll put the information in the description to help me mark up the maps ahead of time. Each child's got their own little Lego person, and we use the Lego people to move around on the map. We have a boy and a girl. So they got to move around on the map. I did a story from Mrs. C, I think she's called. I'll link her in the description as well. So I just did the story that she did in her video. So we took the Legos on a trip around the Indus River Valley. So then I tell them, say Indus River Valley. So they're repeating after me each time. We swam in the Bay of Bengal, which I had marked green. So I said, go in the green part. That's the Bay of Bengal. We're swimming in the water. We're going to swim around the tip of India and come back up into the Arabian Sea, which is yellow. Everyone say Arabian Sea. They would say Arabian Sea. Well, we got really tired from swimming, so now we're going to go on land and we're going to dry out in the hot desert. So now everyone get out of the water and dry off in the Great Indian Desert. Say Great Indian Desert. They would say it. That's the purple part. So they move to that. Then we're going to canoe. We're going to paddle across the Ganges River. Now I can't remember if that's how you pronounce it. So we paddle across the river, which I had marked in blue. And then we're going to climb up to the very top of the Himalayas, the Himalayan mountains, and see what we can see. So we climb all the way up to the top. And now we're tired and we decide we want to go back home. So then we go back the way we came. So we go down the Himalayas. We paddle across the Ganges River. We go into the desert. It was so hot in the desert, we want to cool off. So we jump into the Arabian Sea, and then we swim around the tip of India up into the Bay of Bengal, and then we get home and we can finally rest. And I tell them, okay, now everyone can go home and rest, and we put their little Lego people in the bag. This is the Lego people's home. And so then after that, everyone got a Q-tip, and they showed me that they knew where the place was on the map. So I said, show me the Himalayas. So they showed me that, so then they got to erase the Himalayas. And we did that for all of the locations. Then it was snack time, so all the kids got out one snack, and we did timeline. So I went around and showed the kids all one card at a time. I'd say the name Council of Nicaea, show everybody the card, they would repeat after me. And then I went and put this up on the board, and I lined them up in order as I went through them. So then we played the song. This week the song was split down the middle. So I played the Age of Ancient Empires, the last part of that song, through 5 times, and then moved on to the Middle Ages and played that one through 5 times. So I had the kids take turns coming up and pointing to each one during the song, pointing to the right cards. And that was that. So then we did science next. The kids are still eating their snack for like the next 3 units. So during timeline, science, and math, the kids were eating their snack, and then during the next one I told them it was time to clean up. So for science, we did the types of seed plants. I used 2 visual aids. First I showed them this one and said, today we're learning about types of seed plants. Have you ever planted a seed in the ground and seen a plant grow from it? A lot of different plants have seeds that they'll produce so they can make new plants. Because honestly, it's hard for me to understand that when people say it, including me, that we're saying seed. So I kind of explained it so they could understand that we're talking about seeds. And so then I showed them, these are the pictures of the different types of seeds. The first one's called monocot, the next one is called dicot, and the last one is called conifer. And this visual aid is a coloring page from amysniderDESIGN. I'll link that in the description. And then I used this one from CC Connected, and I said, so here's a monocot. A monocot, when it sprouts from the seed, only has 1 leaf at first, so we're going to do this for monocot. When a dicot sprouts from its seed, it has 2 leaves, so we're going to do this for dicot. And a conifer will have a pine cone, so we're going to do this for cone, or you can do this for Christmas tree, because a Christmas tree is a pine tree which produces pine cones. So I taught them the hand motions, and then I taught them the song. So the song I used, I got from CC Connected. It's to the tune of "Oh Christmas Tree." So it goes like this. These are some types of seed plants: monocot, dicot, conifer. These are some types of seed plants: monocot, dicot, conifer. So we sang that through 3 times. And next we did math. So I pointed to the numbers on the board, the ones, let's see. I wrote the times table, multiplication table up on the board, and then across the bottom, alternating colors, I wrote out just the numbers that we were going to sing, because I have the Abecedarians. Most of them don't even know what the numbers are, so that's how we're doing it. So I point to the number, I say it, 14, and they repeat after me, 14. So we did that once all the way through, and then I played the song on my phone. The first time through the song, I had them stomp their feet, and then the next time we listened to it, we did karate chops, and then halfway through that we switched to punches because some of them were not really engaged. And then for the final round of the song, I had the kids all get in a circle, and they went around holding hands. They went around in a circle, and at the end of the last time singing the song, they all fell down. Then for Latin is the same as last week, so I just reviewed the pronunciation. For those who didn't see last week's video, I said various, is as in hiss, like you're hissing like you're a snake, e as in knee, and I pointed to my knee, m as in ember, which is my daughter's name and she's in the class, like you don't like something, ace, like the card an ace, like vacuum, ibis, like bus, like you're driving a bus, ace and ibis. So we went over the pronunciation, and then we did the song. For the song, I hand out these little finger puppets. So for the singular third declension, we do the monster, and for the plural third declension, we do the eyeballs. This one, my reasoning behind it was because there's multiple things on here, so it's like plural. It doesn't really make sense because this has eyes too, but that's what we're doing. So we went through the song, and when we did the singular ones, various, is, em, we would do this. And then for the plurals, we would do this as we sang it. And then for history, I brought some visual aids for that for the kids. So I used, at first I went around and showed them the timeline cards. I had written up on the board the full sentence. I underlined the words that we were going to do hand motions to. Not that the kids can read, but that helps me. So I showed them the visual aids. So I said, today we're going to be learning about the age of imperialism. This is Queen Victoria. So they all got to see Queen Victoria. And this is Mohandas Gandhi. And they all got to see him. That was kind of confusing for them. My daughter thought that Gandhi turned into a god. So next time I'll explain that ahead of time. But that's why I do these videos after the fact, so y'all can learn from my mistakes. Then I had this visual aid. These were images I got off the internet. So I just made this myself. So I showed them, this is Queen Victoria and this is Mohandas Gandhi. And I put those visual aids up on the board. So then I taught them these hand motions. So for British, we did this, like we're drinking tea, British. Queen Victoria, we did a crown for Queen Victoria. Assassination, we did this. And the reasoning behind that is because in week 2, when we were doing the 10 Commandments, commandment number 6 was thou shalt not murder, and we did this for murder. So I explained to them that assassination was the same as murder. So before his assassination, Mohandas Gandhi, we did this for Gandhi. I used this picture of him so that we could do that hand motion and it would make more sense to them. Mohandas Gandhi, and then we did this for independence because we were happy that they became independent. So we just listened to the song 2 times through and did the hand motions. After history, we did English. So for of, we did this, of, off, we did this for off, on, we do that for on to, with our feet, we stepped forward like we were stepping onto something, and then out, we did this for out. And I said, like you're taking out the trash. And every time we do the prepositions, I review the definition of a preposition. So we repeat it, so we get that review in each week. A preposition relates a noun or pronoun to another word. So that we did it 6 times, and each time we got a little bit faster until the end. I'm like, let's say it the fastest we can ever. And they just get a kick out of that. So that's what I'm doing each week with the prepositions, going faster and faster. Okay, so next for fine art, we reviewed Following the Conductor. The kids did not have their tin whistles yet at this point. We reviewed Following the Conductor, which is, when I do this, means you can lift up your tin whistle, get it in position, but don't blow in it yet. And this means we're finishing the song and you set your tin whistle back down. And this is how I count you into a song. 1, 2, ready, play. Then we sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We started off quiet with piano. And so I told them, sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but we're going to sing it really quietly. So we sang it quietly, and then I showed them this and said, when we sing quietly, that's called piano. That's really soft, and this shows you louder sounds up here and quieter sounds down here. So next we're going to go up here and sing forte. We're going to sing loud. So we sang Twinkle Twinkle louder. Then we went down to pianissimo and did it really, really quiet. And then we went up to fortissimo. We did it really, really loud, but we didn't yell, we didn't scream, we just sang it really loud. And then I told them meso means moderate or half or medium. So these two in the middle are mezzo forte and mezzo piano. So those are like how you would normally sing. So let's sing Twinkle Twinkle in a normal voice. So we did that. The resources I used for fine arts I got from the description in another YouTube video, so I will link that YouTube video so y'all can go watch it and get the resources if you want. So this is one of the things I got from that video. Then we turned in our folders to the diagram of a tin whistle, and I sang through the tin whistle song. I had my tin whistle and I had them point to the parts in their notebook. Then they all got their tin whistle out and they could point to it when they sang. We sang it over again. I'll sing it again from last week. It's to the tune of Do You Know the Muffin Man? Do you know the tin whistle, the tin whistle, the tin whistle? Do you know the tin whistle? These are its parts. Barrel, fipple, mouthpiece, finger holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Left hand on top. And then we also all took turns raising our left hand. We showed that we knew which one was our left hand and we put it on top. In my community, we're doing a presentation for the music for the tin whistle section on the last week. And since I have the little kids, I know we aren't going to be able to actually play the song. So I'm considering either playing Cacophony, having the kids do an example of Cacophony, or maybe we'll sing Twinkle Twinkle, or we might sing the tin whistle song. So those are all some ideas I'm tossing around, but I'm not exactly sure yet what we're gonna do. So then we practiced playing in unison. So we all covered one hole and we played in unison. We practiced playing it at different dynamics. So I would point to the dynamic on my chart and say what we were playing, and so they'd play it softer or quieter or louder depending on what we were playing. So we did that with the one finger, and we'd switch between 1 and 2 fingers. And then I had each child take a turn playing. So when they played in unison, we just did one long breath. So I counted them in 1, 2, ready, play. They do one long breath, and then when I did this, they would need to stop. So it was a good practice for them to keep their eyes on the conductor. And then when they were each individually playing, I did the same thing. I would count them in and I would do this to stop. And while the individual was playing, the other kids could practice their fingering if they wanted to. Again, in unison, we practiced piano and forte on our tin whistles, but I told them, you know, you can't blow super hard into the tin whistle for forte because it'll just squeak and it won't sound loud. So we practiced with that. Then we put away our tin whistles, and I gave them these flashcards that I got from that video I was telling you about. They arranged these in order, and I was holding the chart up front so they could look at the chart and arrange these in order. And they really enjoyed it, and they kept mixing them up and doing it again, so we did that like 3 times. And I sent them home with some of the kids because I had extras. We sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and as we were singing through, I would point to different dynamics on this chart, and they would change whether they were singing it quiet or louder. And they did a great job. I feel like they really understood it. And then we still had some time, so I had them line up in a line. We're in the gym, so there was already a line on the floor. And I stood away from them and I held this chart and I had them jump, and for each jump they would say community, and they would say it at a different dynamic. So we started quiet and got louder. So the first jump they said community, and then they jumped again and said community, and kept going all the way up to the very loud one, community, and we all celebrated and jumped around. So that's what we did for fine art. For hands-on science, I used this printable. It was in the Sandbox online magazine through CC Connected for this week, but I think you can also get it at this lady's website, but now I don't see her name on here. If I find it, I'll put it in the description, because I used her stuff all through the first 6 weeks. But this was really good for discussion ahead of time. So before we went out for our nature walk, we talked about plants. I told them, you know, we're going to be looking for plants this time. We're not looking for animals like last time. What kingdom of living things do plants belong to? I asked them, Animalia? No. Plantae? Yeah. Then I asked them about mushrooms, and some of them said bacteria, but then I prompted them with fungi, and so yeah, we talked about that. What are some parts of a plant cell? We reviewed, some of the kids remembered some of the plant cell parts, so that was fun, and they were doing like the hand motions we taught them with that. And then we reviewed what are some types of seed plants. Before we went out there, I told them we'd be collecting some specimens to bring back for our nature journal. We would have to be good scientists and observe things that were going on around us in the environment. So we would need to look at the weather, the temperature, and anything else we noticed around us. And we were going to take samples of plants back to the room with us to use in our nature journal, but as good scientists we don't want to disturb nature, so we were going to only collect dead plants. We weren't going to pick things off of living plants. So then we went down and observed things. We actually found a whole bunch of fungi. We found a lot of moss. It started raining while we were out there, but every kid was able to get a leaf and bring it back to the room with them. I used these printables from Professor Latimer. They're on her video, which I will link. She has the links to these in her description. These two. So the first thing we did was we dried off our leaves. We all got a crayon out. We took the paper off of our crayon so we could do a rubbing. You put the leaf under this paper and you take the side of the crayon and rub over the paper, and it's really pretty. The kids loved that. That was really fun. They wanted to do more, but we didn't have time. And then we used this for our nature journal. They all wrote their names or had help writing their names, and then on the board I wrote down the date, the location. I just wrote the initials for the church we were at, so it's just 3 letters so they could write it quicker. I drew a picture of the clock up there and drew the hands on there for them to see on the board. And then I just looked on my phone for what the temperature was outside, and we found that on here, marked it and colored beneath it. And then what was the weather like? It was raining. So last week it was cloudy, so they learned how to draw clouds. So this week I showed them some different ways they could draw rain coming out from a cloud. And then down here they could draw a picture of plants they saw, and down here pictures of things they collected. These were really helpful for this age group. For review, we reviewed week 8 first, the current week, and then we reviewed week 3 through 7 as much as we could get through. The kids really were interested in the coloring sheets for the types of seed plants that I showed you, and so we just kept the crayons on the table and we colored. I had also printed off some of these from amysniderDESIGN, so some of them colored in these. Some of them colored in ones from the previous weeks. A lot of them really like animals, so I have a lot of them will do the same ones each week. So the classification of living things and the kingdoms of living things. So they all colored for a little while we reviewed the week 8 material. we just reviewed math, Latin, science, and history for week 8. And then, yeah, we reviewed math, Latin, science, and history for week 3 and 4. Then they started to kind of get restless, so I brought out the silly dice. Some of them kept coloring, some of them had given up on it. These I got from Dollar Tree. I wrote different things on them. So this one is for body movements. So we have karate chops, superhero, penguin waddle, flamingo kicks, and sea stars. Sea stars are basically like jumping jacks. So they could choose which dice they wanted to roll. They each took turns. And then this one is for silly voices. So we have baby talk, robot, mouse, whisper, pinch your nose, and fancy. So we did that for a lot of the review as well. Then we did the preposition song, and for that we do follow the leader. So I chose a leader and all the kids lined up behind her, and as I played the preposition song on my phone, they all followed around listening to it and doing what the leader did. And I just played up through this week's prepositions. And then the last thing we do is geography. I get the maps back out. I give them each an M&M. I try to review this week's geography and then 2 previous weeks. So we reviewed the Indus River Valley geography. They got 1 M&M for that. They had to move it around to the different spots. I used my handy dandy cheat sheet because I can't remember where everything is. So they moved it all around, and after we had hit all the locations, they could eat their M&M. Then they got another M&M, and we covered the Egyptian Empire, and then we covered ancient Greece, and that was it. We were done with review. So that is it for week 8. I think that's all I had to share with you. I know it was a lot. And next week we're going to be off, so I might have a week or 2 weeks in between this video and my week 9 video. I really like to do my videos after I've gone through it with my class to kind of share with you guys things I've learned, what worked, what didn't. I do kind of want to make a video next week. We'll see if I can do it. I want to make a video about how I organize my stuff for Community Day, because I have a certain way I keep all my papers and everything. As you can see, I use a lot of different visual aids and things like that. Or I might do a video about the planner I use. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, I'm looking forward to sharing week 9 with you guys, and I'll see you then.